This video is brought to you by Engine. Most of what you can see in this shot from Star Wars is not real, and it's not even CGI. So what is it then? It was created using a technique called matte painting. This technique has been used to make huge worlds for movies and video games for more than 100 years. For example, in the making of Star Wars in the 70s and 80s, in this particular shot, instead of creating a large set, matte painting artists painted carefully the majority of the stormtroopers, the starships, and the rest of the environment, while blending everything with some real stormtroopers to sell the scene and make it more believable. This was created more than 40 years ago, because artists today use predominantly CGI for the same purpose to create modern movies and video games. But the question is, how and why we still use matte painting even though it is one of the most traditional things, especially in movie making? The use of matte paintings in movies can be traced back to the early days of filmmaking. In the late 19th century and early 20th century, filmmakers began experimenting with various techniques to create the illusion of vast, panoramic landscapes or cityscapes on the screen. One of the earliest techniques was the use of painted backdrops, which was often used in theatrical productions. Some of the first recorded use cases of matte paintings in movies goes back to 1907, specifically in a film called Missions of California, where Norman Dunn used the glass painting technique to breathe new life into some destroyed buildings in the movie. However, it wasn't until the 1920s and the 1930s that matte painting became a common technique in Hollywood films. Some of the most famous early examples include the cityscape of Metropolis in Fritz Lang's 1927 film Metropolis. The matte painting used in Metropolis were created by German artist Walter Ruttmann, who worked closely with Lang to develop the film's unique visual style. The artist used a combination of painting and photographic techniques to create the film's distinctive look. So as you can see, matte painting is a multidisciplinary art form that enables artists to create breathtaking environments and sets that are either impossible or impractical to replicate in the real world, simply because it can be expensive, dangerous, or if it is a purely fictional world. The 1933 film King Kong is another classic example of the use of matte paintings. The film's iconic final sequence, in which Kong climbs to the top of the Empire State Building while being attacked by airplanes, was created using a combination of miniature models and matte paintings. The matte paintings for King Kong were created by the American artist Mario Larinaga, who worked closely with the film's special effects team to create the film's unique visual style. The matte painting artist created a series of paintings that depicted New York City's skyline, which were then integrated with the live-action footage to create the illusion of vast and sprawling metropolis. The artist used a variety of techniques, including painting on glass plates and compositing photographic elements. One of the most famous matte paintings from the film is the shot of Kong perched on top of the Empire State Building with the city skyline visible in the background. During the 1940s and 50s, and even till the 1980s, matte paintings continued to be used extensively in movies, particularly in the science fiction and fantasy genres. This was the case because using CGI was not as big or as advanced as it is today. Also, hardware was very expensive. On a side note, matte painting is not the only trick that filmmakers and VFX artists use to create environments, because a lot of environments and props are created using a technology called photogrammetry. To demonstrate what that is and how it works, let's take for example Engine, which is an app that uses photogrammetry technologies to capture photoreal 3D models from taking photos around the objects. It is available for iOS, Android, and even your web browser. Engine is jam-packed with many features and customizations. It is free and you can scan without limit, although you can only export 3 models each week. The great thing about Kiri is that all the processing and calculations are done on the server side. So all you need to do is take as many pictures of the subject as possible from every angle and wait for the Engine to do its magic. Engine also has a really great, inclusive and friendly community of users who use Discord to communicate with the developers and suggest and vote for new features, in addition to chatting directly with the developers and exchanging tips and advice, and of course share their scans. The new Kiri Engine 2.3 also introduced some amazing features that will prove helpful to all 3D artists out there. These new features allow users to generate clean quad mesh retopology instead of the usually messy and even triangular photo scanning topology. This, in addition to rebake textures, an AI-driven PBR materials generator to include roughness, normal, and even displacement maps on the 3D scan, which is impressive. So if you want to download and try Kiri Engine for free, you can follow the link in the description down below. Some notable films that used matte paintings in the 80s include Blade Runner in 1982, The Thing also in 1992, and Labyrinth in 1986. So let's take a look at Blade Runner, the 1982 science fiction classic directed by Ridley Scott. It features some of the most iconic matte paintings in movie history. The film's stunning vision of its dystopian, futuristic Los Angeles was created using a combination of practical models in addition to matte paintings, of course. For example, in this shot, we can see one of the two matte paintings from the climatic fight sequence in Blade Runner between Harrison Ford and Rutger Hauer. This was an up angle which was done as an afterthought, and this is one of the matte paintings that wasn't planned as a matte painting from the beginning. It was created entirely using matte painting artist Matthews. His work had a really nice kind of flair to his artistry and a looseness to it where it looks like it has a ton of details. This is also another matte painting from the fight scene finale in Blade Runner, High Up and Above the Streets. This is a matte painting done by Matthew Oresic back in 1981. The sequence takes place in the rain. That's why the matte painting has some very wet looking areas with very good shine. You actually can tell that this was a matte painting, especially back then, when you see Ford kicking and breaking out of the window and climbing alongside the latch. So as you can see, matte paintings involve the process of combining either printed or digitally produced illustrations with live action footage to create a seamless and believable final image. The artist used a combination of traditional and digital techniques to add intricate details and big sets to productions, taking viewers on an immersive journey that transports them to new worlds that vary from fantasy, futuristic cities to vast alien deserts and landscapes. And then the best part is, these environments can be seamlessly integrated with live action footage, creating a truly captivating experience for audiences. Given the limitless opportunities for building immersive environments, it makes sense that matte painting would spread beyond film and television industries and into other mediums, especially like video games and animation. In the recent 20 years or so, matte painting has evolved into a predominantly digital art form, and digital techniques have become an essential component for creating them. These techniques require proficiency in a range of tools and software to achieve the desired effect and look. We are talking about digital tools such as in 3D modeling and digital sculpting programs, as well as in image manipulation such as Adobe Photoshop and other software. For example, you can use a 3D software such as Blender, Max, or Maya to create the environments, and maybe you can use ZBrush to sculpt characters and other stuff in the backgrounds that you will include in matte paintings. But although digital techniques have largely taken the place of traditional methods in modern productions, some artists for some reasons still use them to produce a unique and authentic look, mixing the best of both worlds. This may include painting on a piece of glass using oil or acrylic paint, as well as using miniature models or sets that are often then photographed and combined with live action footage. Even though matte painting can be very useful and powerful, it still has some limitations, since certain elements cannot be achieved through this technique alone. As an example, while it can be combined with parallax techniques, it still falls short, especially in terms of interactivity when it is compared to creating 3D environments or real-world sets. The reason is, it is hard for a matte painting to provide the same level of depth and immersion that comes with physically walking through a set or a CGI environment. Additionally, while matte paintings can create incredibly detailed and realistic environments, achieving consistency and continuity across multiple shots and scenes can be challenging. Even minor differences in design can ruin the illusion of the seamless environments and the visual fidelity, which requires as a result a high level of attention to detail and technical expertise. It is essential to keep in mind that matte painting is not intended to be used as a standalone technique, because to produce the most realistic and engaging visual effects possible, it should be combined with other disciplines, such as 3D modeling and animation, which is of course heavily used in movies nowadays, since these techniques can help overcome the limitations of matte painting and achieve spectacular results. As technology continues to evolve, the future of matte painting appears incredibly exciting. While it has always been an essential tool for filmmakers and one of the old techniques in the industry, its potential applications are becoming more diverse with each day passing. With the growing use of virtual productions and real-time rendering, matte painting artists can now see their work being integrated into real-time productions, offering more opportunities to create more immersive worlds and push the boundaries of what is possible. And as demand for high-quality visual effects continues to grow, matte painting will remain a vital component of the industry. However, to stay relevant and meet the demands of the productions, there is a need to continue to adapt and learn new techniques. The integration of VR and AR into matte painting is just one example of what the future can hold. Additionally, artificial intelligence can be an exciting tool to generate elements to use in projects instead of using photos and digital painting software. The thing is, matte painting has stood the test of time, and I think we will see it in the future more and more, because from what I can see, it is still very important and extremely relevant. I hope you guys found this video useful and informative. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to this channel to stay updated with new videos just like this one. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.